Moonlight is a film that was made for $1.5 million and went on to win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. It is a film with an all-black cast about a young man struggling with his sexuality in an environment that is rarely portrayed in cinema. All of these are reasons why it should be celebrated as one of the most culturally significant films of the decade. However, Moonlight goes far beyond just being a black movie or a gay movie. Through its profound level of authenticity and impeccable artistry, it transcends labels and stereotypes to become a purely human film, generating waves of empathy in a way that allows us to learn more about ourselves and the people around us. In an early scene in the film, Juan tells Chiron a story from his childhood.
In Moonlight, black boys look blue. You blue. That's what I gonna call you. Blue.
Juan recognizes that this young boy needs guidance in this place that makes it so hard for him to feel accepted. He's telling Chiron that he shouldn't let his environment dictate who he becomes. The moonlight represents the world around them and how its light can cast a different image on someone, turning them into something they're not. Black boys are not really blue, just like how Chiron is not little, a name given to him by others.
At some point, you gotta decide for yourself who you're gonna be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you.
Like the characters in Moonlight, none of us are defined by just one part of our lives. Juan is a drug dealer, but is also a charismatic guiding figure for Chiron. When's the last time you saw a movie portray a drug dealer this way? Even minor characters, such as the bully, have these little moments that humanize them and hint at something beneath the surface.
But he has this one moment where they're in the classroom and he looks back at Chiron and you see this love, but all this hate, this self-loathing, all these things that to me make him just that much more than just a bully. You know, you see that his motivations are very, very complex and conflicted, and I think it brings for a character who has very little screen time all this nuance and subtlety, you know? Like all these people, things are very, very gray. You know, they have multitudes within them.
These characters feel so real because a lot of them are based on real people from the filmmakers' lives, giving the film another layer of authenticity. Moonlight is a very personal story, but by being so specific, it becomes this universal story of identity and what it means to be human. This allows us to empathize with the characters, even if we are not able to relate to their situation directly. Director Barry Jenkins achieves this by placing the camera between the actors.
I wanted the audience to feel what he's feeling. We literally put you in the body of Chiron at certain moments because I want you guys to not be able to escape, to feel what he feels.
We are forced to look into his mother's eyes and realize that she's not the person he thought she was. We are put in the line of fire when Chiron is betrayed and beat down by the only person he opens up to. Moonlight becomes this immersive first-person experience where we feel Chiron's pain and can maybe understand what he's going through.
You know, I just want people to maybe through these characters understand how the world can affect some of these kids who grew up in this community like Terrell and I did, you know, and how it can sort of like promote the idea of performing this version of masculinity that isn't truly who these men are.
Kevin betrays Chiron because in order to fit in, he needs to conform to this image of masculinity that won't let the two of them be intimate with each other. The shift to the oldest version of Chiron is the most jarring example of this. We see this man who is built of pure muscle and appears to be a tough drug dealer. When casting the film, Barry Jenkins was not so concerned with having the actors look alike. He wanted to show how time and a harsh environment can drastically change this young man into becoming a seemingly different person.
You go, who the hell is that? You know, and why should I empathize with him? But he's the same damn person who was dancing in that mirror 10 minutes into the film.
Chiron's physical armor is not enough to hide the vulnerable part of him that is at the core of who he is. One thing the actors do have in common is their eyes. It is often said that the eyes are the window to the soul, and Chiron's eyes act like a spiritual guide for the story, revealing his vulnerability that he tries so hard to push away in each chapter.
And to look into this grown man's eyes and still be able to see that child, to me it would be, again, like instead of making it an intellectual discussion of the performance of masculinity, we could actually show it, you know, that this person begins as one thing and then to survive in the world builds up this literal musculature, this armature, to protect himself from having to deal, you know, with being vulnerable.
A lot of what makes Moonlight so special is found in these soft glances and quiet moments that reveal so much about the characters. In the diner scene with Kevin, the two of them say so much more with their eyes than they do with actual words. We can see the longing, fear, and pain in Chiron as he looks into the eyes of the only person that truly knows him. Time seems to slow down as these two men start to open up to each other and break down the walls that society has put between them.
You're the only man that's ever touched me. You're the only one.
We see how this world can turn a confused boy into something they're not, into an image of masculinity that we are led to believe should be prioritized over real emotions. Moonlight is a very personal story, but it generates empathy in a way that can help us see the human in all of us, beneath the prejudice and stereotypes.
And what I would hope is, if people are walking down the street, and you see a guy with a mouth full of grills, or you see a dude who's like, being really, really tough, you kind of think, instead of just seeing that guy and judging him, oh, he came from somewhere, there's a story. Maybe I can understand a little bit more of why he's that way. I can understand a little bit more of what he's going through. I can empathize with him, or at least make an attempt to.
Our identity is something that is constantly shaping over time, and it's up to us to discover who we are as we grow and adapt to the world. Chiron learns that it's okay to be who he really is, to swim into open waters with the shore out of sight, away from a world that tells him what to be. His journey of self-discovery was not easy, as the ocean can be a powerful, intimidating force. But it is also a place that can set you free, as Chiron accepts the vulnerability in him that's as ever-present as the steady flow of waves under the moonlight.
Chasing after our ends, lights just around the bend.